Brought to you by Alman Auctions, the worldwide leader in antique tractor auctions.
We're on the trail of a really rare bird, and the tracks have led us right to this 1918 Parrot. Now you might be asking, what's a Parrot? Skip Dufour has the scoop.
The tractor was invented by a gentleman named Dent Parrett, probably around 1917. This tractor's around 1918, 1919. The plant was in just south of Chicago, about 50 miles. The main office was in Chicago. If you look at the records for the state of Illinois, Parrot dropped off the records sometime in early 21. So it was a very brief company.
The Parrot was basically a steel frame with a Buda 4-cylinder engine mounted across the frame rails. That cross-mounted engine was marketed as 1225, which signified 12 horsepower on the drawbar, 25 on the belt. Parrots were also known for their distinctive front wheel design, and the front wheels were larger than those on most tractors of that period. The company claimed it increased flotation, decreased compaction, and required less power on rough ground.
According to the advertising literature, the reason for that was so it could traverse plowed fields or go through furrows or low ditches and things like that. And the front axle would pivot, it would move, and because the wheel was so big, it wasn't so apt to get stuck. It would bridge a wide gap. I believe that was probably one of its claims to fame. To drive a Parrot, actually it's a joy. The thing steers like a dream. It seems to have plenty of power as far as going across the ground or pulling light implements. Traversing rough terrain is actually a pleasure with it because it doesn't jump or bounce, or just kind of the front wheels just float up and down and the thing just goes.
Massey Harris fans might think this tractor looks kind of familiar. That's because in 1917, an agreement was reached where Massey Harris would build a tractor from Parrot specifications and drawings.
Well, there is an interest between Parrot and Massey Harris because the Massey Harris #1 is actually a Parrot tractor. It's the same as this model behind me. If you look at a #1 that is all original, you'll see it is practically identical to this tractor.
Skip and his friend Bob Willis have been restoring tractors for more than 3 decades. But this machine provided an extra challenge. That's because there aren't many Parrots or collectors of this tractor around to help provide info.
Information is extremely scarce on these things. You're pretty much limited to production photos, parts manuals, advertising literature, and you just kind of fly by the seat of your pants. And of course, you know, Bob and I have been doing this for 30-some years, so we've got a little bit of knowledge under us. It's not always right, but like Bob says, 2 heads are better than 1. Well, most of the time anyway.
Stuck pistons, broken cylinders, and a crooked crankshaft were just some of the problems that made the restoration of this tractor complicated and time-consuming.
When Bob and I brought the tractor back, we did a complete dismantle on it. The engine was really rough shape. We had to get it bored and sleeved and did a tremendous amount of engine work on it. The bad part about it is early Buda engines, there's parts are non-existent, so you pretty much have to make most of it or do some alterations to get things to work and fit the way you want. The decals on the hood, we copied off original sales literature and scaled them to the hood and had them cut in vinyl. So color-wise, we did a lot of digging and scraping, and we're pretty sure the color on this thing is as close to original as you could find.
As you can imagine, when you have a machine this rare, it gets a lot of attention from other collectors when you take it to a tractor show.
I believe we've only found roughly around 10 or 12 of these things left in existence. Every show we've been to, we're the only Parrot. It draws a pretty good crowd. People like to hear it. They like to hear it run, like to see it move. I think the biggest interest is the way it looks.
Skip is a fan of unusual early tractors and has 6 Rumleys as part of his collection, and he's lucky enough to have not just one, but a pair of Parrots under his wing. Although Skip loves showing off his tractors, he admits the biggest thrill is getting these old machines running as good as new.
You know, my wife asked me the question of why I collect tractors, and I don't know. I think it's a challenge. I like the mechanical part of it. It's a challenge to restore the stuff. It's interesting. It's a disease that continually develops and grows. It's like eating, Lay's potato chips. You can't just eat one.